Test.
Radio, TV, broadcast voice.
That's pretty good. All right, I have a question for y'all. Since y'all are all propulsion engineers, do you like Site 27 more, or do you like the factory?
Site 27. Easy.
When there's a test campaign, Site 27.
I think Site 27 in general.
Really?
It's like my little oasis, you know?
Yeah.
You get to go on to PDK Airport. You get to drive across the runway, look at the planes,
Yeah.
have your little light on. And yeah, it has a good vibe to it, you know?
The amount of natural light at the site is 100% more.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, the sunsets at the test site are the best.
Oh, yeah. How often do you do that?
Well, propulsion team, we'd be there pretty late, especially for the first half of our term here. I think when we were doing the sea level static test campaign, we were there pretty late. So I think, you know, we'd leave around 9 p.m. And so seeing the sunset, pretty nice every single day.
Oh, I have photos of Donovan on my phone that were taken on. What's the mode on the iPhone that makes it super like
a portrait mode or something?
Portrait mode
Ooh.
in the background.
Mhm.
Dude, those are crispy, especially with the
Ooh.
tower and the runway in the back.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Should we introduce ourselves?
Yeah, let's get started. So I guess we'll just get started with like your name, where you go to school, what year you are. I guess, you know, what got you into aerospace and Hermeus, and kind of what you do as an intern at Hermeus. So Donovan, you want to get started?
Sure. So yeah, my name is Donovan Gum. I'm a sophomore at North Carolina State University, majoring in aerospace engineering. So I guess what got me interested in aerospace was, you know, commercial space, you know, Blue Origin, SpaceX, all that. It was just something really cool to see, especially as someone who like really came of age and like became like aware of what was happening when the space shuttle was gone. And here at Hermeus, I've been working on the forward bypass doors. So that's kind of just like what the component of the engine that, you know, diverts the flow either to the turbojet or into our bypass system. So that's kind of been a lot of like, you know, design for new hardware, test hardware. You know, the primary goal of my project is to get through this like test campaign for it, doing like functional testing, leak testing, proof testing.
So is that mostly design work, or is that more manufacturing?
I'd say it's a pretty solid half and half of design work and like assembly and manufacturing. It's given me a ton of hands-on time, and also like,
Yeah, show me your finger right now.
yeah, this is
A battle scar.
yeah, just an example of some hands-on time.
Yeah, you built some really cool things during your internship.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, but it's been great, you know, getting like time to do design and stuff like that as well.
All right. Hi, I'm Shiva Valbanani. I am I don't even know what I am. Fifth year student at Purdue, working on my master's. And my project here, or my job here at Hermeus, was to design the quarter horse exhaust nozzle. That was a crazy big task, but you know, everything down from, you know, the actuation system to the structural aspects of the sidewalls and the nozzle itself were the things that I got to have my direct impact on, as well as just, you know, classic bending tubes at the site and working on test hardware, and all of that is pretty encompassing of what my job was at this internship. So a lot of design work, a lot of hardware, a lot of times where you're working to work, especially on hardware. If you're making stuff for the engine, sometimes work is just work, but when you press the auto sequence button at the console and see everything go and look at those pressures, and you're like, I made that tube. That's awesome. So,
Jason?
Yeah. Hi, my name's Jason Smith. I'm a fourth year aerospace engineering student at Georgia Tech. I'm about to graduate this December, so we'll see what I do after that. Maybe grad school. I don't know. But during this internship, a lot of things also. My main project was designing a flight-like ignition system for our ram burner. For people who don't know, our ram burner is like a combination of an afterburner and a ramjet. So just a lot of things about going through the systems engineering of finding what trades are best for ignition, designing some CAD, doing some pre-design analysis, and presented a CodeR, which is a conceptual design review over that, which I know Shiva just did one about the nozzle, and you've been doing test readiness reviews mostly.
Test readiness reviews.
That's
Yeah,
an interesting part of our internship.
CodeR,
Yeah.
that nerve-wracking as hell. I don't know about you, but
Oh, no, it was like the scariest day of my life. So basically, a CodeR is where it's like a PDR or a CDR, but it's a lot earlier in the design process. But you still sit with super important people in the company. Granted, everyone's important, but this is, I think, one of the first times that we interface technically with higher ups and just show them, this is what I've been working on, this is what I've done. And there's a lot of exposure there as an engineer, right? It's very interesting to see, like,
yeah,
oh, wow,
I can tell
presenting.
you that my first presentation back in January or February was, Donovan can attest to this, was one of the most, like, the worst, like, presentation of just, like, mumble garbage there was.
Yeah, you were definitely pretty nervous for that one.
Yeah.
Way more nervous than the CodeR.
Yeah, and so the CodeR, at least for me, I had to work closely with Glenn and Danielle and Jordan and so many other people in pulling everything together. And now this was like them already knowing the end product for a lot of cases and then seeing how I present that. And I think that was super nerve-wracking. Like, could I say the things that they already knew to be true, and could I say them in the right way,
Right.
Like in like a technical sense, right? Like, can I explain why the thing was made the way it was in the technical sense and really understand it? Because as like a responsible engineer, your job is to know everything about what you're making, whether that is like something that's completely structures. Like for me, like I'm propulsion through and through, and I had to do an entire like structural analysis, learn FEM in like 2 weeks, and give something that's good, right, with good results, and know that my results were good. And like saying that out loud to people and have it be wrong would have been a lot scarier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes me think, being on the propulsion team, you kind of have to be a jack of all trades. Like, you have to be, of course, a good engineer, but also kind of a good physicist, a lot of fundamentals that we work with. But you also have to be a good computer scientist, electrician, mechanic.
We're all carpenters and plumbers.
Exactly. We're carpenters and plumbers. I think the three of us, the number of tubes we've bent this semester, I can't even count.
Do you have a good tube bending story?
A good tube bending story? Oh, just getting it wrong every single
and
time.
just in general.
Mm.
Like what was the moment that you knew that?
Oh, it was when I got my first tube bent on my first try correctly. Because I remember I was routing something. I think I was routing like a differential pressure transducer on our test engine, right? And usually when I'm tube bending, I'll bend a tube and then I'll realize, oh my gosh, I can't flare this. Or I'll flare it and I'll say, oh my gosh, I didn't add a sleeve or a B-nut. And I think this is the first time I actually got all the curves right. I got all the flares correct. And yeah, that was just worth celebrating, I think. Because it's so stressful.
At that moment, you're like, oh, yeah, this
Beautiful,
is awesome.
Yeah.
You look at it afterwards and you're like, oh, mwah.
Yeah.
like mwah, magnifique. Like, oh, this was awesome.
All right, I'm gonna hold y'all up right there. I'd like to introduce myself as well real quick. So so
who's
I'm
our host?
Important.
Yeah, so I'm Carter Tegan. I'm a second year at Georgia Tech, and I'm the only intern on the flight sciences team, which is why I'm hosting this podcast. So the podcast is kind of split into 3 sections today. So we have the lovely propulsion team here. But yeah, real quick about like what I've done at Hermeus. So on flight sciences, I've done a lot of like the conceptual design for future aircraft. So that's making tools like with how we create our inlet, how we create our body, and really just kind of like helping out with thermal stuff all over the way as well. I feel like personally, I don't know if this is the case for y'all, but like I wasn't a really big aerospace kid before coming to Hermeus. I feel like that doesn't get talked about a lot. Like
Yeah, can you define that a little more?
Yeah, like I'm an aerospace engineering major. Like, so obviously I think the stuff is like super cool, but like one thing that's been really interesting about working here is like my passion for aerospace went from like here to here, just like by being surrounded by people that like think this stuff is so cool, and like I guess like really working on the really cool parts of aerospace. And
No, yeah, people here are crazy.
yeah,
Like insane engineers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, in school, like let's say like sophomore year, you know, somebody comes up to you and they're like, "What's your favorite aircraft?" Like, what would your answer have been back then?
Well, I am a sophomore, and
Oh,
yeah,
perfect.
I don't know if I'd have an answer. Like, I don't think I mean, before this internship, like, probably wouldn't have one. I think right now,
Quarter horse.
Yeah, just back there.
Well, no, I'm in the same boat. I didn't have one either. Now it is quarter horse. I will say that. But
yeah, there's a like supersonic aircraft. I think it's called the Valkyrie, and it has like 6 different engines on
Oh, this
the
is
back of it.
Kratos, right?
Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think.
Maybe.
Interesting.
But I think it looks so funky because it has like the normal fuselage, and then it kind of looks like a crane, like the animal, where it has like its the front of it just kind of goes above everything else. I think it looks super funky.
Not like a droop snoot though.
Not
on
like
the
a
on the Concorde.
no, not like a droop snoot, but all above.
Yeah, my sophomore year, intro to aerospace design class. The first day we walk in, the professor comes in and she says, "All right, everybody, write down your favorite aircraft on this note card, and we'll talk about a few of them." And so I'm like, man, I don't really know anything about aircraft. Like, bro, like I've flown Lufthansa. Like, that's my favorite
Oh, yeah.
aircraft. Like,
737.
I've flown to Germany. Like, my favorite aircraft is Lufthansa. You know, like that's an aircraft company, bro.
That's
like,
some German engineering right
I
there.
didn't know.
It's an airline, right?
Their
Yes,
kids
they are.
like being like, "Oh yeah, mine's F-35B. Just love the VTOL on it." I'm like, dude, I don't even know what VTOL
Yeah.
means.
So I mean, going back to like high school, I had favorite rockets, but I knew nothing about aircraft.
What was your favorite rocket?
I mean, probably just like Falcon 9. You know, like Crew Dragon Falcon 9. Just like
Nice.
really cool.
Yeah,
Then also,
Donovan,
like,
Donovan,
Starship
what was your favorite
development.
Apollo mission?
My favorite Apollo mission. Ooh, I don't know, 11.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when I actually started, like, my aerospace major, you know, I made it like a conscious effort to sit down and be like, okay, what aircraft do I vibe with? Like, that was the
Okay.
thing I did. Yeah, because I knew that I'd get asked it, right? So I settled on the F-22 Raptor just because it's like the coolest looking aircraft to me.
But yeah, like I think one of the things that surprised me the most about this internship so far is just like not only like where everyone's coming from, but like how interested and like obsessed people are with aerospace. And it's like infectious working here. Like coming out of this internship, like it has definitely spread on me. I guess I was wondering like what are y'all's like biggest surprises about working at Hermeus, and what'd you not expect, and I guess learn along the way.
That's a really good question. For me, I think it was the culture of people here, right? I know you say it in a technical mindset. I'm thinking more of like a social or personable mindset. Everyone here is so talkative, so friendly. They love what they do, and they're just generally fun. And I can't say that I've had that experience at other aerospace companies. People here, like, they take the work very seriously, but they also play hard. And I really respect that. Like, you know, after hours, everyone is just having a good time.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you, Donovan?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say it's kind of like a very friendly, but also like, you know, like no bullshit environment. Like you're able to like, you know, everybody gets their chance to like really give, you know, valuable input and, you know, actually contribute. It's still a relatively small company. So, you know, usually what you're responsible for, like you have to be accountable for that. And so, but then also it's like, since everybody's so friendly, it's like you have like these, you know, so many bright minds to just, you know, ask questions and just talk about it, your project or their project. And, you know, you end up learning a ton.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the things that really stood out to me, like the first or second week, is seeing everybody handle 3, 4, like 5 different things at one time and deliver on answers, whether they're super exact or not, and then keep moving forward. Like I remember sitting in those meetings, sitting at the treehouse in Site 27, like just listening to what everyone's saying, and it's like, oh yeah, I did that the other day. Oh yeah, no, that thing, yeah, we got all those numbers like today, this morning, and then they're like talking about their to-dos, and I just remember like Phil being like, oh yeah, no, I can get you that today, and then later today, I'll get you these numbers as well.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, bro, I can concentrate on one thing at one time. I think maybe like give me something and give me 2 months and I'll be good. And so that level of like being able to handle all those things just blew my mind.
Definitely.
It's definitely like one of the big things about starting out that I know we all kind of experienced is like what is said here is like drinking from the fire hose, where there's just like so much going on in those first few weeks, and it really feels like you don't know anything and you're just trying to absorb everything.
100%. Did you feel overwhelmed in your first few weeks?
I felt very overwhelmed.
As did I.
Yeah. But it's like, it's really
better.
neat. Yeah, it gets better, but it's also really cool because you're learning so much. Like, I guess like maybe it's a little overwhelming because there's a lot coming at you, but like I can confidently say that I've just learned so much from being around here and like hearing everything going on.
All right, Carter, what's your number one take home? Like, what is the thing that has fundamentally changed the way that you are as a person?
Oh man.
Oh wow.
I think for me, it's not like a specific concept, but really the way that I operate as an engineer and think about things, especially like in a more corporate setting. I feel like this isn't super uncommon, but like just I generally feel like I'm more of a perfectionist and I have to get things 100% right. But especially like with some of the work I'm doing, which is like CFD, like getting things 100% right takes a lot of time. And one thing we talk about here is kind of having like the 80% solution. Like what people say is like it takes 20% of the time to get 80% of the answer, and then 80% of the time to get the last 20%. I feel like I spent so much time just trying to get that last 20% when a lot of the times like it doesn't make or break anything, and you can kind of like move on and not waste time. And I think just like approaching problems, like being aware of what scope is needed to solve the problem, and like be willing to kind of let go and move on because that last 20% isn't super critical.
Yeah, no, I experienced the same thing. There's a lot of uncertainty with a lot of the stuff that we do, especially because a lot of this stuff has not been done before. And I know in engineering classes, they kind of tell you it's like, you make or break it, right? You have to get it 100%.
Right.
Like have a fully robust system.
Yeah, and like submitting an assignment that's 80% done.
No,
you
you
never do
you'll
that.
get a B, I
It's
guess.
like the thing where they're like, oh yeah, you get 2 decimals wrong and the bridge will collapse and somebody will die. Like
Yes.
that's what they tell
Tacoma
you,
Bridge.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of that. And then also what we say a lot here, live in the yield. I've kind of had to grow to accept that. And
yeah, what other sayings are there?
It's all about
there's
the
so
rates.
many. It's all about the
Oh,
what?
yeah.
It's all about the rates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many sayings here. Like
But-
HITL. I just found out what HITL meant this
Yeah.
week. I think avionics will talk more about that.
That's
but
something we were talking about earlier. Like there are a lot of things here that I kind of just like went through a lot of the internship, like not knowing what they meant.
Like when Anthony goes blip blop.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Or like for you, like HITL, one thing that like I didn't know what it meant until like maybe a month ago was like scope and like scope creep. People just threw that around all the time, and I was like, I don't know what
Like,
what
let's
y'all are
de-scope
talking.
that.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I don't know what y'all are talking about.
You kind of learn to use the lingo, and maybe as us interns, we don't know necessarily what it means, but I'll be saying that. And I don't think I know what scope creep is either, but I say scope
Just throw
a lot.
it in,
so.
hope nobody notices.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, for me, it's going to be, I'm always going to say this from now on, but like, let's just turn this knob.
Oh,
Yeah.
knobs to turn. There's
That's
so
big.
many.
Yeah. Well, I think now is a good time to kind of switch out the prop team with some of our avionics interns.
Yeah, they
so-
can start talking about stuff that I have no idea about, which will be great. I can learn something today.
All right.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you, Carter?
Oh, I'm great. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we can just get started with the same introductions that we did. So, name, where you go to school, what year you are, and I guess what you do at Hermeus. So, Elena, want to get started?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Elena Albert. I go to UIC, University of Illinois in Chicago, this would have been the end of my 3rd year, but obviously I took the semester off to work here. I mostly worked on making an avionics bay. I've done a couple other side projects, but that has been my main thing. It's been kind of like interesting being the mechanical engineer on the avionics team. That was definitely interesting experience. Learned a lot.
I'm Talia. I am a 3rd year at the University of Southern California. I study electrical engineering, and at Hermeus I've kind of like run like the full gamut of like what you can do in EE at an aerospace company. Like my first project was harnessing, second project was PCB design, and my current project is like embedded systems and embedded software. So yeah.
I'm Adrian. I'm an aerospace engineer at Georgia Tech. At Hermeus, I'm a GNC engineer, and I deal with a variety of projects involving simulations.
What does GNC mean?
So GNC, for people who don't know, is guidance, navigation, and control, and that deals with all the algorithms that go into guiding the aircraft where it needs to go, knowing where it is in space, and controlling it so it could get where it needs to go.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's been really interesting about the internship here is like we do a lot of things at the company, but I feel like we also do a lot of things outside. And when I like hear about the avionics team, y'all do the most stuff outside of your internship with your team. So I was like, what's been like the coolest thing you've done outside of work or at work, either one that isn't work itself?
Yeah, like the whole avionics team actually went climbing yesterday. We're supposed to get mani-pedis at some point.
I'm still sore. I'm still sore.
But yeah, we do. I think climbing yesterday was fun.
Just for like a little bit of context, Talia and I go climbing most days after work.
Yeah.
And we kind of suggested this team outing for like the comedic factor of watching our teammates try to climb.
Yes.
That's why y'all are not sore. I'm still sore from
Oh,
yesterday.
I'm sore. Don't sweat.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. That was fun though.
Yeah, I think we went to Top Golf once too.
Yeah.
We did. They didn't have the chicken tenders, which is like what you go to Topgolf for, which is
Oh yeah, we got wings.
yeah,
Oh,
that was so
yeah.
messed up.
They also had those little donut bites with an injectable fudge and jelly. Yeah, that was really
That
good.
might have been the highlight of the internship.
That was the highlight.
So Talia, when you go to Topgolf, it's not for the golf, it's for the chicken tendies?
No, okay, golf is like hot take, golf is evil. So you're not gonna find me at Topgolf just to play golf. I'm there for the food and the vibe with the people, the homies. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I think that we've done this semester that's like super cool is we had our like little intern games.
Oh yeah. Do you guys like the intern games? I feel like
Yes.
I
They're
originally
so much fun.
I actually love them. Thank you so much for making them, Elena.
they're like kind of stressful to plan. Honestly, like the entire they're held on 4:30 on Thursdays, 4:30 to 5, and like from lunch to 4, I'm like scrambling to get stuff together. I'm like out like we did what was the newspaper one? The bridge.
Yeah, the bridge.
The bridge with the tape and the newspaper. I had to go to 4 stores to try to find newspaper to buy.
Yeah, it's all digital these days.
Like, and then this lady saw me like buying a stack of newspaper at a Publix, and she looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah. For context, this this internship we've been doing these like intern games that Elena created, and I guess like every week on Thursday we have an engineering competition between all the interns, and we all compete. And
the full-time people also
yeah.
join in and team up with
Right.
us.
Yeah, so sometimes we're paired up with like a full-time engineer, and
Yeah.
everyone comes on out and watches it. And it's super fun. We did like a building a boat. We did a paper airplane, and then we did a bridge. And
Yeah.
I guess we have one more finale next Tuesday.
Yeah, big finale. I don't even know what the game is yet. I still have to plan it. Also, I love how like I make the game and I make the rules and everything, but you guys have started doing this where you like present on your solution to the game.
Yes, everything at Hermeus has to have a story behind it. Like,
Yeah. Someone even connected it to the parables once. That
Oh.
was so cool.
I still haven't won any of them. I know Carter here has won like at least 2.
I think Carter and Talia in the top 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I consistently maybe come in like second, third place, but
at least you're not consistently last. That's
Yeah.
what matters. Yeah.
Who's last right now? Oh, I know who's last.
Probably Jason.
I think. Yeah, it's Jason. Then I think Shiva's 9th.
Excellent.
It's okay.
Damn,
I'm
Shiva.
8th. I'm 8th.
It's really interesting because like everything we do here like kind of ends up getting presented in some shape or form. So like at every intern game, it's like oh, you built something, talk about it. And, everything kind of gets connected to like our parables we have. I guess like we have 4 of them, right? What? P80, Hollywood, Wagyu, and
I forgot the last
yeah.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
Anyways,
Oh,
like,
isn't it like midnight something?
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
minutes to midnight.
Minutes to
Yes, yeah.
So
There you
basically,
go.
like these 4 stories about, I guess like all different situations, but kind of like supposedly are supposed to be like they're supposed to be the way we think about engineering problems and handle things. And I guess someone just started connecting them to the parables, and then we're like, I guess we all got to do that. So
Oh, I always think it's hilarious when like an HR person beats like the lead of avionics and the lead of structure.
oh yeah, wasn't it like the boat
Yeah.
one? Natalie's group won.
That was messed up.
I was in that team.
My group totally should have gotten second, but they stole it. I wasn't
Because you get
upset.
style points.
Yeah, you do.
All right. Yeah, what's like, I don't know, I think the interesting thing about the avionics team is y'all have done like so many different things. What's like been the favorite thing you've worked on while you're an intern?
My first month here, I was working on one of the most important sensors on the aircraft, and that really surprises me about like what this internship does for interns. Like we were given really, really, really important tasks. So my sensor was INS, and that's the inertial navigation system. My first task was to go out there and test it. I ended up getting a van and stuff, driving that baby around, and doing ground vehicle tests. And then that led up to a lot more tests on that very important sensor of ours.
I remember
Yeah.
you showed like a super cool plot of your van driving around like the whole area.
Oh yeah, that was super fun. I
Like-
love showing off.
Didn't you also like put it on a cart and run around behind the building?
That's how it started. And I was sitting on that cart and it had you push me around. So that was super fun. So it was just me sitting on a cart holding up an insanely expensive sensor, just rolling around the backyard.
This is the future of hypersonics right here.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, but what you're saying is definitely true. Like I feel like all the projects we collectively as an intern cohort have worked on have all been like very important, and that's like scary but also very cool at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. Like being in charge of 14,000 feet of cable, like being the point of contact for harnessing for like our test cells is definitely scary, and I was not expecting it. But like literally on the second day of my internship, my manager was like, yo, so this is your project, go do it, here are the people who you can manage. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And that's like, I was kind of just expected to like do it and push things along, and like obviously I got help, but like I was the one like at the forefront, which was daunting, but also I learned a lot from that. So yeah.
Is harnessing the favorite thing you've done so far?
No, so I would not like any LinkedIn messages about harnessing. Please do not reach out to me about that.
What has? Like, what's been your favorite?
Probably PCB design. It's like, I don't know. It's honestly, it's kind of like as much of an art as it is like engineering. I really enjoyed like calculating different values of things and like getting like different like ICs to work together. And also just like, I don't know. I think it's better than like real CAD because it's only in 2D and you don't have to like deal with like tolerance. Well, you don't have to deal with like the annoying tolerancing and like, you know, moving things around and assemblies. It's so much simpler. But yeah, definitely PCB design is like my favorite thing I've done here.
What about you, Elena?
My favorite thing? I think I just got moved onto a new project, which is actually like a GNC project. It's super cool. I think also because it's like really fresh, and my last project kind of lasted forever. But I also liked all the little like side projects you kind of get into, like when we were working on the Notre Dame cell, or like even helping Talia out with harnessing, which you just needed hands. Like that's kind of when you do like the late nights and you get to talk to people and learn really outside of your field. I think that was super fun.
And you get T-shirts out of
Yeah,
it too.
T-shirts and like boba parties. This is
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about that a little bit.
Oh yeah, so we had an event. for harnessing, a harnessing party, if you may have called.
Let's get wired.
Yeah, let's get wired. Name courtesy of one of our technicians. He was great. But yeah, like we just had like a bunch of people from like different teams and like even non-technical folks come out and like drink boba and get a lot done with like the harnessing that we need to do for our like.
Yeah, we had like Rihanna playing on the big screen. Right?
Yes, she was supposed to come, but I think something came up, so she couldn't make it. Yeah.
I also did want to talk to like we do get really important projects. Like I know you guys kind of both mentioned it, but like my avionics bay project, like it kind of resulted in me getting all the leads in a room and like getting them to realize that they had to fight about this project. And as an intern, I was not expecting to have to do that. And like getting that presentation together and that meeting together was kind of stressful. But then once I like sat back and watched the chaos I had created, it kind of felt worth it.
Yeah. It feels weird telling people who have like more years of experience than you do like years of being alive, like, oh, you need to get on top of this.
Oh, yeah. Like,
Oh,
no, you need to give me answers right now.
I think equally terrifying is when you're doing work and like some expert on this subject like looks over your shoulder and you're like, oh shit, like my work is being inspected right now, and then they just kind of like walk away, and it's like,
I passed the test.
did I? Like,
I didn't say anything.
Or like what's even worse when you're like, oh, like I'm sure this is taking me forever, and they're like, and you like expect them to be like, it's okay, like this takes everyone forever, and they're like, this is a learning opportunity for you.
That's true. I think to add to what Elena was saying, that a lot of our projects end up relating to other specialties. So we're all avionics interns here, but we're going to be working directly with other teams. And a lot of our projects have us do that. Like, say I need a part made by a technician, we'll go over there and we'll actually see how it's, cut on our water cutting machine. We'll be interacting with people from propulsion, structures, literally anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my biggest like shock coming here was in school projects. Like all your assumptions are given to you, and like you just have to solve for an answer. But like when actually making this stuff, you have to make it for reality. Like you have to leave room for like wrenches to turn and hands to fit, and like, well, can it actually get manufactured once I leave this internship? Who's taking it on? Like actually constraining your own problems and figuring it all out was kind of like, geez, gotta get on it.
mm-hmm. That's something I didn't like really, I guess, consider before like working at an engineering company. Is like documentation is crazy important because you never know where you might drop off work and someone else might pick up.
I've gotten really good with like using the macros in Confluence to make everything like look nice on your page. Yeah, graphic design is my passion.
Wait, didn't you put like a Gotham on your PCB?
I did, yes. Instead of like putting the Hermeus logo on one of my PCBs, which is what Anthony does, the avionics team for some reason says Gotham a lot.
No,
so
it's just Anthony.
Okay, yeah, I guess, yeah, it is just Anthony, but yeah, just to make fun of him, I stylized Gotham into like the Hermeus like bullet font.
Oh, yeah. One of the things that makes me most jealous about like y'all as a team is y'all have like your own kind of like desk setup outside of the factory office space where everyone else works.
Yeah.
And y'all always have like dogs out there too.
Mm-hmm. We have a new dog on the avionics team.
Rory?
Yes,
Yeah.
Rory.
Oh,
She's amazing, the cutest.
She falls asleep in my lap a lot. It's wonderful.
Aw. Who's the best dog sitter out of the three of y'all?
Well, it was DeAndre, and then DeAndre got a puppy. And now I dog sit DeAndre's puppy.
I think like coming into this internship, that was the thing I was maybe the most excited about, being in a dog-friendly office. I don't think they don't have it anymore, but on the website there used to be like pictures of each dog, like each company dog, and they had their own little title as well.
They had their job title like propulsion engineer.
Yeah, aerodynamics.
Yeah, those are the best.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. Like you'll be working at your desk or whatever, and you just feel like a wet nose like start touching your feet or something. And you're like, what's under the desk? And I'm like, hey, Han, what are you doing, bro?
Oh, Han is so good at that. Yeah. Han is like always right behind me, and whenever he wants attention, he will put his like snout under my hand and lift it off of my mouth to like pet him.
Oh, but he's a little trash monster.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta hide the trash cans.
Sweet. Well, I guess that can wrap up our little avionics section. So if you want to get the structures people out here.
Dang, this is so weird. Okay.
Got to listen to your own voice.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right. Yeah, I guess we can just get started with introductions again. So, Cal?
I'm Cal. I'm a junior at Purdue on the structures intern team.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you got.
Yeah. Like,
Come
what have you
on.
been working on? What have you
Give us
been? What have you
something.
been doing?
Sorry, I've been working on building out the thermal testing lab. So we're working on testing really high temperature parts, like the leading edge of the aircraft.
Yeah. Cal has a flamethrower, like a massive flamethrower.
Actually,
Best purchase of the
Got a big
for
3-inch
anybody.
flamethrower, and I got to toast a bunch of things with it.
Oh, yeah. Before you started doing your thermal things, I was doing my own thermal things with like a little heat gun that could get things up to like 600 degrees Fahrenheit. And then you come in with like a flamethrower and you just torch things.
Got to torch everything.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
and then
cool.
we got 2 more after that. So now
Yeah.
we got 3 flamethrowers actually.
We got 3 flamethrowers.
Yeah.
What
We
do
have
we need
3.
3 for?
Making bigger s'mores,
Okay.
obviously.
Exactly. Oh, so I guess I'm next. So my name is Kojo Bequiseichi. I'm a 3rd year aerospace engineering student at Georgia Tech, and I'm also on the structures engineering team as an intern this semester. And so what I've been working on is designing the wing leading edge, and basically taking it through conceptual design to analysis through testing. So a lot of my project has been interfacing with Cal's project, and we've been kind of working apart but together on just like getting everything set for testing the parts that I've been designing. So that's what I've been working on.
I'll finish up. I'm Reed Fly. I'm also a 3rd year aerospace engineering major at Georgia Tech. Technically, I'm a structures intern. My project has talk about scope creep. My project has been the definition of scope creep. But I started as structures, and I was going to do some materials qualification for some additively manufactured titanium. So we were going to like 3D print titanium and then pull it apart on the tensile test frame and see how it performed to see if we can like print the entire airplane. But we've had some manufacturer issues, to say the least, with our equipment vendors. And so I've shifted into a little bit of a manufacturing engineering intern role. I've helped to stand up some machine shop capabilities here with some CNC machining and some water jetting. And then we were finally going to get that 3D printer online. And so just as I'm leaving, someone will have to take over the project that I was going to do. So.
Oh, man. I think that's one of the like really interesting things that I've kind of experienced with my internship, though, is like the scope of your internship and like what you're doing isn't hard to find. Like I kind of came in with some things that my manager kind of wanted me to look at, but you're able to like help other people out and like start to do other things. So like thermal testing was never something I anticipated doing, but like people are always there to like help each other out, and you got to lend a hand here and there. So that's something I got like really involved in super quickly. I was wondering if like y'all felt the same way about, I guess, I don't know,
Like
is what you're doing kind of
project
like
scope?
Yeah, is what you're doing like what
Creep,
your
man.
project was meant to be?
It is, but I think kind of what you said too, it ebbs and flows. Like there's so much change going on within the company that then also, because you are fully owning your project and contributing to the company as a whole, like there are certain things that as those things change, your project also changes, and you have to keep good track of how that impacts your project and how that influences like how I talk to Cal about certain things and what I tell her and what I don't until I actually have the 80% solution for that change. And like me, I was supposed to take my project through testing by the time I leave, but we got through some rough quoting stuff and just like material changes and a bunch of other things that I had to, be ready to adjust. I mean, the design changed so many times as well.
Mm-hmm.
And mainly that was because of new requirements, things that I had to keep track of. And overall, like now, I have the fully fleshed out design, but somebody's going to have to take it and pick it up through that testing. So like sometimes you also have to de-scope and be okay with that. And like, it was a little disappointing at first, but I know that my product is going to be a lot better that way. And so like, I mean, it's all about just adjusting to as things come. I guess that's something that I've had to learn.
What about you, Cal?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really think that I was going to be working kind of as much with physical parts as I was, but I'm building like an enclosure out of bricks, which you don't really think bricks when you think aircraft company. And so just seeing the different ways in which my project goes and getting to help out with other people's projects has been really fun too. Like working with helping with the Notre Dame test cell setting up. I did a lot of work with that, and that was really cool getting to see like all the different areas in the company.
Yeah.
Learn
Also-
like 7 skills in a week.
Yeah.
A lot of hardware experience right there.
How much did you have to learn about like brick?
More than I wanted to.
Man, I had to you came to me and were like, yo, can you water jet a brick? And I was like, I can water jet metal. I can water jet plastic. I don't know if I can water jet brick. So we lined up some bricks and we just cut it on the water jet. And believe it or not, it works.
What?
You can cut
Yeah.
bricks in half on a water jet.
It worked
Okay.
beautifully.
That's awesome.
It was a fantastic cut too. It was like perfectly even.
Except for the first brick, which was like massively crooked because neither of us
We
really
don't-
looked to make
we-
sure
we
it was
don't talk
straight.
we don't talk about the first brick.
Never talked about the
I
first
threw it in the dumpster. There's no evidence.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the things that I guess like recently happened is we kind of all changed where we sit in the office. So
Popcorn seating.
yeah, popcorn seating. How do y'all feel about popcorn seating?
Who wants to take this one? Because I have a lot.
Go for it. Go for it.
Here's the thing. Like I have mixed feelings about it. I like it because it definitely made me get up and like find people. But like in the first couple of weeks, the website, it used to have like the names and the faces of like the people that you would need to talk to. So like before I got up from my seat, I would just like quickly go on the website on my phone and like see,
Wait, who is
okay,
this person?
James looks like this. I'm gonna find him over here and I'm gonna go. So then I like after they updated the website
And they removed everything.
and they
They
removed
took all the
every
headshots off.
picture of anybody, I was like, oh my god.
I was like, I should have taken a
Immediately, like-
screenshot of that. I have no idea who anybody is
Because
now.
I sat like now I sit in the center of the office, but before I sat in like the back corner. So like when I got up, it was with a purpose. Like I had to know exactly where I was going, and so like I think it was good for just like stepping out of my comfort zone in that respect of like actually seeking out help. But yeah, sometimes it can I don't know I don't want to talk too much. So
Oh man, it was, yeah. Particularly the first couple of days, having to relearn where everybody sits.
Yeah,
I
moving
walked
was a
around the office looking like a fool more times than I want to count. Just like, where am I going? I'm trying to find this person. They used to sit right here, and then I'm just like stumbling around. Like, where are they? Turns out they're just like out in the factory or something. They're not even on the office floor. So I just spent 5 minutes like looking around the office floor and did not find anyone.
honestly, sometimes I would get up to find someone, and then after walking around like a lost puppy for like 2 minutes, I would just go to the break room to pretend like I was
Oh yeah.
going to
Oh
the
yeah.
break
Going to
room
grab a
the whole time.
snack.
Yeah, the classic.
But that's not what I was doing. I was just lost. I was like, where are you?
Oh man, so good to know that I'm not the only person that did that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
Literally all the time.
all the time.
It was so much easier on like the first round of popcorn seating because I was like right next to the break room, and so I was like, man, I ate more snacks than I probably should have because the break room was like right there. But what was I gonna do? Like I got up, didn't find who I was looking for. I was like, gotta go somewhere. Break room, snacks.
They've got good snacks. How can you resist?
Oh yeah. What's
Yeah.
your favorite thing to get from the break room?
Well, they have sometimes like the ice cream cones, like the drumsticks or whatever. Those are pretty good. Then they've got like the fruit bars that are like the really hippie, like just fruit, organic ones.
They're
That
so good.
those are good.
Yeah, about the ice cream cones, I wouldn't know because I'm lactose intolerant.
Ah.
So I can't really. Yeah.
What a shame.
Unfortunate.
You're missing out.
Yeah.
I
Just so
just-
you know.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
I remember the first day where we got the drumsticks, like someone walked out with a drumstick and everyone just looked at them like, where'd you get that? And they were like, it's in the break room. And everyone just like ran there and
It
like
was in
10,
unison.
10 people came out all
Dude.
eating their drumsticks.
Sweets disappear so fast at this place.
Oh yeah.
It's man, anytime it's like chocolate, particularly, I don't know what it is about this company and chocolate, but it disappears so quick. You have to be just like, some chocolate's in and you're like, oh, that's nice. I'm gonna come get some in a couple hours when I need a break. You come back in a couple hours, there is nothing. It is barren. It's been picked over.
Yeah.
It's insane.
We got some chocolate-covered almonds this morning. I'm gonna bet they're already gone. They
Oh,
were
I'm
like
sure.
nearly
I'm
empty by
sure.
the time I got here.
There's no way those are left.
I'm not even like a chocolate covered almond guy, but one time I was in the break room and I was like hovering over them and someone looked at me and they were like, "You're gonna go for those chocolate covered almonds? Good choice." And I was like,
Can't say no now.
I was like, well, I guess I gotta grab a handful.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of sweets, have we already talked about the whole donut situation?
Oh,
man.
that is.
Uh,
That's really good to talk about.
Information security.
Yeah.
IT security.
Yeah, so I guess
It's
that's something that we take seriously. Like anytime you get up and leave your desk, like locking your computer. So we do a little thing where it's like, if you leave your computer unlocked and someone like gets to your computer, they can type in like, "I'm bringing donuts tomorrow,"
and then
you have to bring donuts because
You
you
have
said
to.
It's a legal requirement.
you said
It's
so.
written in the Constitution.
it's
Yeah.
in the Hermeus bylaws. Like, I don't know. We do have those, right?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
it's
I was
in
about
there.
to be like,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
they're
employee
there.
handbook somewhere.
there,
It's
somewhere.
probably-
But this is something that started like this semester while we were interning, and those first few days where we instituted it and like people started doing, it was donuts every single day.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
Oh, people
No.
got over and over again.
Yeah, like actually, it was every day 1 week.
Yeah, for quite a
Like,
while.
Yep.
Monday through Friday, someone got caught.
Have
every
any of the
day.
interns been got yet?
No.
No.
Well,
I think one of them
Chase-
did.
Shiva got
Yeah,
didn't he?
she
Shiva
did.
got caught.
Yep.
Yeah, he did.
It was early on too, and
Yeah.
he got pranked. The
Oh,
rest
man.
of us have stayed
Have-
diligent.
Have any of you like gotten somebody though?
yes.
Like who's the menace among us?
I
Like,
may have
who-
gotten someone once,
Okay.
but they did not even bring in donuts. So
Oh,
I think
They broke the
I've gotten
rules.
like people 2 times now, but like there have definitely been cases where it's like I see someone's open computer, but they're like really, really important here, and I'm like, I don't know if I should do this.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
quick
I
way to
think
get
that
gone.
like
yeah,
Yeah, I
I've seen that once or twice too.
So I usually only do it with people like I'm pretty close with,
That makes sense.
like people on my team.
That makes
But
I'm gonna have a little honesty hour here. There, this is an aside, but like when Michael first started working here, he used to leave. He's behind the camera. Shout out Michael. What's up, bro? When he first started working here, he would leave his laptop unlocked a lot, and like every time I would look at it, and I was like,
I could get this man.
and then I was like, I really don't want to, so I would lock his computer every time. So
Aw.
like, I
Dang.
got you, bro.
Coach is the nice
Just-
one of the
just so you
company.
I was gonna say like that's some integrity, right?
Like
there.
literally, I don't know. I didn't have it in me to get anybody, but I've seen so many, and I'm like, man.
yeah, there was a time I was like just like walking around the office, and someone had their back turned to their laptop, like probably 4 feet away from it, but they had their back turned, and I started to approach it, and they like saw me out of the corner of their eye, and they were like, "No,
don't even think about it.
Nah.
Right. What is man? We've been here for a while. For context, this is our almost last week here.
It's our penultimate week.
Penultimate
Oh,
week.
Big words.
That's a good
Big
word.
words.
Yeah.
Vocabulary lessons
And
over here.
they say engineers can't spell.
Ooh.
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
Kojo, spell that.
I was about to be like,
Spelling
don't
bee?
put me on the spot.
Yeah.
Don't make me spell that.
I guess like, what is your biggest takeaway about like what it means to be an engineer, or like, I don't know, leaving this internship? What are y'all taking with y'all?
I think there's a lot of like, you need to use just a lot of common sense and like just get stuff done. And you have to talk to vendors a lot. And it's always going to be the fasteners that cause you the issue. Like it's always the smallest thing. You have a perfect design that works beautifully. And then someone asks you what fasteners you're using and you don't have an answer. And your entire design is like, you got to go back to the drawing board.
That sounds like an oddly specific story.
that's what I
Cal.
mean, like, that sounds
Does that come from personal experience?
That sounds personal.
I haven't learned that the hard way really, but I've heard a lot of stories and there's always just like the one little detail that you miss. And half the time it's the fasteners. It hasn't usually been that for me, but it's always like, there's so much like detail work, and then also a lot of talking to vendors. There's so much Googling and finding vendors.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't, so much, honestly. Like, I feel like every week there's been something that's like a life lesson. But I think the two biggest ones for me is like, be okay with being wrong. Kind of like, I think, I'm pretty sure you talked about this earlier. Like, we really couldn't hear you guys from where we were standing. But like, as someone who considers themselves a perfectionist, like, it's so easy to tell yourself, I can't mess this up because they expect me to get it right. But like, as an intern, you're not expected to get it right. Like, you know what I mean? You are eventually, but there's some learning involved because they give you a project that's meant to stretch you and meant to grow you. So I think that perspective really is what changed, in that like now I'm a lot more open to sharing what I do on a daily basis, where before like I would actually like struggle in silence a lot in my first couple weeks. But like now I'm a lot more open to be told like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense, and just be like, okay, I'll go try it again. I think that's something that I've taken away and will like definitely apply. And then also like how much of like your success is actually up to you. Like, there have been so many times where I've asked my manager a question like, hey, should I do this or should I do that? And he's like, you're the designer, it's up to you. And I'm like,
Ooh.
Answer That's
the
a big
question
one.
with
you
a
know what I mean? It's
question.
like, oh, it's up to me. Yeah, you're right. So just realizing how much power you have, trusting your gut sometimes. Sometimes it's a gut feeling that you have to go with until like analysis proves something, or somebody tells you you're wrong, and you just have to, you know, learn where you went wrong. But I think both of those tie in together, where it's just like, learn from failure and then keep moving forward. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think like related, there have been a lot of times where like someone is like, why'd you do it that way that you did it? And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Literally.
Because it's like, it's a gut feeling. And a lot of the stuff I've done is very conceptual. And it's like, I don't have a really solid reason why. And it's just like, it's what I feel and what seems like it'd be right to me. But, oh yeah.
And I think it's kind of, Reed, I promise I will let you go, my guy. I think it's kind of cool how much they actually trust us as interns as well, to like make certain decisions that like before I don't think even in a research lab like they would trust me with that much.
Yeah, I mean, Quarter Horse is going to fly with parts that we designed.
Yeah.
And parts that interns designed and analyzed and checked
tested.
over and tested.
Yeah,
Like,
literally.
that is kind of insane. Like, this thing it's so technically complex with so many moving parts and such razor thin margins that we're working with. And there's hardware on there that the interns took something from concept through to fruition, and it's going to fly on the airplane. And that is really freaking cool. Like, that is an incredible level of ownership that we're given here. But I mean, for me, I also just had to, not to like drone on about a company parable, but like move quickly and pivot quickly, because my internship started, like I said, we were going to do this metal 3D printing and we were going to test that. That was supposed to be set up 3 months ago. It's still not set up now. That's a long story, but I have, in the meantime, like cut parts on the water jet, including some bricks. I have gotten like the CNC mill up and working. I've done a little bit of design work. I've picked up a bunch of little things here and there, kind of building towards a very different project than I came in here expecting. But I still feel like, you know, I was able to make a meaningful impact on where Quarter Horse is headed and where the company's headed. But having to pivot quickly was interesting.
Yeah. I think it's also important, like, kind of building off of what you were saying about trusting yourself, like, knowing when you have to do the research to back up the decision you made versus when you have to know, like, there's just not really the research to back up this very specific decision I made. I'm just going to have to make a decision and move on if this is a low stakes thing and, like, figure it out as I go.
Yeah.
Kind of like trusting that gut, but knowing when you have to really verify it with something that's already out there.
The infamous analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
I got caught by it many a time.
Yeah.
But I prevailed.
Yeah.
I made it out. So yeah.
I guess for me, like, the biggest thing that I've kind of valued is like being confident in yourself, because it's very easy, like, as an intern to be like, wow, everyone around me is just like way smarter than me, because it's true. But like,
Yeah.
I think there has been like at least one instance where, blindly trusting the people around you just because you think they're smarter has kind of like failed me, because it turned out that like I was right, or maybe not that I was right, but they were actually wrong. And if you're not like, I guess, holding other engineers accountable and like double checking what they're saying instead of like blindly accepting it, it can like kind of bite you in the butt. I think I probably lost a week of time kind of like twiddling my fingers because I didn't know something was working, and it's because I just accepted something someone told me as a fact. And like, diving deeper into it, it necessarily wasn't true.
Trust but verify.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, one of the hardest things for me to figure out, and something that, like, through performance reviews, like, and also some self-reflection on what was going on, like, it really came to my attention that, like, sometimes I was struggling with being able to put my foot down and say, no, I think this is the right decision, and here's why. Like, being able to take ownership, and, sometimes you gotta, like, fly in the face of what your manager or someone higher up or a peer is telling you, and say, this is the way that I can show you why I think it's the right way, and unless you can show me with more convincing evidence that it's the wrong way, I'm going to move forward with this way, and not just being like, yeah, okay, I'll just do whatever it is. Like, I'll change directions here. But like, taking that autonomy and it's hard because you have to find a balance, right? Because there are certainly some times when I was sure I had made the right choice. I was like, yes, I've done the analysis. I made the choice here. And then, like, I show the design to somebody higher up, and they're like, gotcha, you didn't think of this or this or this. And like, yeah. But then there are some times when, like, you truly did. Like, you made the right call, and being willing to stand up for yourself a little bit has been it's something I've definitely gotten better at over time because I've had to do it here. So it's been pretty interesting.
Right. I guess kind of like building on that, like, if you had to give a piece of advice to maybe like a future Hermeus intern, or maybe just like an engineering intern in general, what would that piece of advice be?
Treat yourself like a full-time employee. Obviously, don't, assume that you're always right about everything, but yeah, really trust yourself and accept that you have ownership of your project, and all the design decisions are made by you, and you get input on them, but they're made by you, and they're your responsibility if they go excellent and you get praise, or if they go wrong and you got to start over.
Yeah, the latter has happened to me more than once, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess. Yeah. Going off of that, trusting yourself, being okay with making mistakes. I think that was my biggest, I guess, like, fatal flaw during the early phase of my internship, and sometimes like it creeps back up on me, but I'm keeping it in check. Like, we only got a week left, so I gotta at this point. But just don't obsess over being right. You should obsess over getting stuff done. And what I mean by that is, like, if you hit a roadblock, ask questions, ask as many dumb questions as you can, and then just move forward with whatever understanding you get from those answers. But don't just sit there and try to, reinvent the wheel, or, like me, just redesign a leading edge that didn't really need to be redesigned anyway, just augmented in certain areas. Like, it really taught me a lot of self-trust in that, like, okay, even if I'm wrong, it doesn't mean that I'm not capable. It means that I'm capable of, like, getting a better answer. And so, like, that's my advice. It's just, like, be okay with being wrong and moving forward and learning from it rather than being stuck on it.
And just be willing to jump into something. Like, if you see something that either looks interesting to you, or that you think you could pick up a skill on, or that you think you could help on, like, just go up to somebody and be like, hey, I want to help you do this thing. I want to learn this thing. I want to do this thing. And so, like, I don't know, from that, I picked up a lot of skills, like hardware, software skills. I know, like, I've seen all of us learn things that we were like, never would have expected to come in here learning. Like, I came in clearly like structures intern. I don't know a thing about flight computers and avionics. And I spent like a couple of days harnessing. So like picked up some harnessing skills, some tube bending skills, like just random little things that are going to help me be a better engineer, seeing things from like start to finish, because all of us just kind of were like, yeah, give me a little project to do. Let me do this thing. Let me jump in and help. Let me learn.
Yeah, and that's like something that isn't just like supported here, but it's also like really encouraged to do. I feel like, at least in my case, like my manager has been super supportive about me like wanting to go branch out and help with like ND cell or maybe thermal testing. Really just like making the internship like what you want it to be, and not just kind of like what your manager wants you to do, because you have tons of flexibility in that regards.
Yeah, and I think also like gaining that hardware perspective helps you better understand what you're designing.
Right.
Because like when you've actually felt a part of it with your own hands and you've seen it and you've dealt with it and you've seen where you can go wrong with manufacturing it, like you'll make a lot better design decisions just based off of that. Like I know now that like when I'm bending a tube, there are certain measurements that I should make before just like, bending that tube, you know?
Man, we're about to turn this into the Tubes podcast.
Yeah,
again.
I'm not about to get on
Tubes
tubes.
podcast
like,
Rev 2.
Yeah, Tubes podcast part tubes. I don't know. But yeah, I think that hardware perspective is really helpful, just in general as an engineer.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, and I don't know if this is something that y'all felt as well, but like the advice that I'd give to people coming in, like especially interns, is like socialize with other people at this company. Like I think Jason was talking about this earlier, like the people here are super cool, super social, and like do tons of things outside of just working that they like willingly invite you on. And I feel like when I was first here, I kind of like trapped myself in a bubble of like, I just need to get my work done because that's what, you know, people are going to care about when I leave. But really like being willing to talk to people like outside of your own team and like get to know them, because so many people here have come from like basically like probably every single aerospace company you could imagine, like someone working here has come from, and it's like great to gain their perspective, and it just opens up so much of your life to really get to know them.
There's a lot of knowledge in this company.
Yeah.
Just like in general.
Yeah, inside and outside of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just like outside of that, like there's a bunch of really cool people doing a lot of really cool things that are not aerospace. Like we have car guys and climbing people and boxing people and
A lot of climbing.
so many climbing people. It's like
So
half the
many
company
climbing
goes over to Stone Summit like 2 or 3 times a week. Really cool people make coming to work a lot easier, and like life outside of work, like having friends from work outside of work has been really cool, even though, you know, for some of us are going to be staying in Atlanta. Cal, I guess you're the only one here who's not. You're the lone
Way to call me out.
foreigner here. But, you know, so there's some of us who we might see each other around tech and be like, hey, I know you. I've met you before. We're friends.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like seeing people and becoming friends, even for just this semester, like I feel like that's really valuable. Those connections, super valuable and a really important part of this time here.
Yeah, definitely. I think I honestly love our intern class. I think that like we've done a really good job of like balancing having fun with each other, but then also like getting our work done, and then also helping each other get our work done. And I think that like it was a very rewarding experience, just like in general, because I made like 4 new friends at Georgia Tech that I didn't have before, and then like a couple friends at Purdue, a couple friends at NC State, like, you know, everywhere. So it's just a really great time, really great people. 5 stars for Mach 5.
Ooh.
Mach 5 stars.
Well,
Give it.
all right. Well, I guess we can call it there. It's awesome doing this with everyone, and
Yeah. I'll see
Thanks for you for
three
having
of us around Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Cal,
Cal, we'll miss you for sure.
we'll come visit
Yeah.
you in the cornfields. at
No,
some
I'll
point.
come visit you in Atlanta.
Okay,
I'm good.
okay. There's-
No
yeah.
one needs to go to the cornfields.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Including
there's
me.
a lot. There's a lot more to do in Atlanta than.
Yeah.
Lafayette,
If you're looking to apply for an internship, apply.
do it.
Yeah.
Don't hold back. You have what it takes. We want you.
Ooh, look at that inspirational
That's what I'm
message to
saying.
close
It's
us
root to
out.
point. I'll do 2 fingers. There we go.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Apply.
Sweet. All right.